Hey y'all, Jonathan McGarry here, and this is Off the Page, Genesis chapter 5. This is what God caused to jump off the page to me today as I read this chapter several times. The 5th chapter in Genesis is a genealogy of the generations of man, starting with Adam and ending with Moses and his 3 sons. It spells out for us the beginning of the line of Christ, who would come and be born as a baby in the Gospels. Genealogies can be difficult to read because of some of the odd names, but God put them there in His Word for a reason, and there is something here for us. So I want to include this chapter today, because as I read this chapter, something new jumped off the page to me. As I read any chapter, I often notice words or phrases that are repetitive. This chapter was no different, as over and over we read the phrase, "and he died." Everybody mentioned in this chapter has the phrase, "and he died," following their name, except Enoch, who walked with God and God took to heaven without him actually dying, and Moses and his 3 sons, whose story begins in chapter 6. It teaches us of a sobering certainty. Unless God comes again to get you and take you to heaven before you die, we all face certain death. But I want to focus on one other thing that jumped off the page to me, and that is Enoch himself. It says that Enoch walked with God. Now that is an amazing factoid about Enoch, and one might wonder how he learned to have such a relationship with God that it was said that he walked with God. At this point, only 2 other people have recorded to have walked with God, and that is Adam and Eve before the fall of man, found in Genesis 3:8. If we do the math on the age of the men listed, we realize that Adam, who lived to be 930, was still living at the same time as Enoch. Enoch was the great-great-great-great-grandson of Adam. In fact, when Enoch's son Methuselah was born, Adam would have been 687 years old. One can imagine a conversation between Adam and Enoch. Enoch might have asked what it was like for Grandpa Adam to walk with God in the Garden of Eden. And Adam would have probably smiled and gotten a far-off look in his eye and told Enoch just how wonderful it was to have that kind of close relationship. So what is my point? We must remember the significance of passing on what we have learned in the experiences we have had in our lives, especially our spiritual lives, to those around us. We don't fully realize the impact such a passing on of such experiences can have on others. We are to be God's witnesses. So what about you? Do you see what I saw, or did God show you something different? Seek Him in His Word. He will be found, and that is the whole point of us reading His love letter to us. To seek Him, to know Him, and have a relationship with Him. Let God speak to you today. Until next time, remember I love you. More importantly, remember God loves you. And keep your eyes on Him.